Hello! So in this video we're going to be discussing the understanding of the different types of soil that kind of blossomed from the time around 371 BC to 79 AD. So the most important people to discuss in this video are Theophrastus, and then Varro, and then Columella. So essentially, as I described in the first video, Theophrastus understood. He knew that there were different types of soil, but his kind of wording to describe the soil was very restricted. He essentially just called things either thin or fat. So it was thin soil or it was fat soil. It could have been, that probably meant that it was vigorous and rich soil or that it was very nutrient poor. Then we have Varro, and Varro really made the biggest leap. So he decided to classify the different types of soil to further understand and to further kind of make distinctions between them. So he classified them by substance. Then he classified them again for moisture retention, for their rockiness, and then also for their color. So this was just different ways that he could kind of make distinctions and separate them and understand more which was best paired. Now, he didn't necessarily do a ton of work with which was best paired. He left that to Columella, who came in and kind of built upon Varro's distinctions and said, okay, let's say this is a, rocky or red, or he took these distinctions and then he translated them to say that means it should go with this vine or this vine or this vine, to say, okay, this vine really needs this type of soil to thrive. So you can kind of see how they built upon each other. So whereas Theophrastus really didn't have the verbiage to use, that he did know that there were lots of different types of soil, but he just didn't have the words. Then you have Varro, who came in and said, okay, these are the different types. And then you had Columella come in at the end and then say, okay, these different types are useful because we know that they should be matching with these different types of vines. Now you may see me looking down. It's because I actually have, when I do my research, I go and I read a lot of books, and then I write down the different quotes that I think would be useful. So what I've done for this is actually a video series based upon a paper that I wrote. And so I would go through and I'd have, this is about a 10-page document full of different quotes. So an interesting thing to read to you, for instance, here is Varro, and here's what he had to say about the different types of soil. For there are many substances in the soil, varying in consistency and strength, such as rock, marble, rubble, sand, loam, clay, red ochre, dust, chalk, ash, carbuncle. Then he said, that is when the ground becomes so hot from the sun that it chars the roots of the plants. And soil, using the word in its specific sense, it is so called chalky, or, according to one of these elements, predominates, and so of other types of soil. The classes of these vary in such a way that they are, besides the other subdivisions, at least 3 for each type. Rocky soil, for instance, may be very rocky or moderately rocky, or almost free of rocks. And in the case of the varieties of mixed soil, in the same 3 grades are distinguished. And further, each of these 3 grades contains 3 grades. One may be wet, one may be dry, one intermediate. And these distinctions are not without the greatest importance for the crops. The intelligent farmer plants accordingly. So as you can see, like I described, there's this kind of breakdown, this stratification, and saying, okay, I know certain soils are rocky, so how rocky are they? I know that some retain moisture really well. Well, let's classify them and talk about it. So this kind of was very important within the understanding of soil. And then a quick read of a quote by Columella. He will assign to fat and fertile land a vine that is slender and not too productive by nature, to lean land a prolific vine, to heavy soil a vigorous vine that puts forth much wood and foliage, to loose and rich soil one that has few canes. So you can see he's kind of trying to reason out. And Columella was like the king of moderation. He thought that, which was kind of new. He said don't use really wet, really dry, really rich, or really lean soil. Use kind of these moderate things, but if you have to, then you need to pair it. So you need to pair very rich soil with a very low producing vine, or you need to pair very lean soil with a very, very vigorous vine. So it's really interesting to see how they kind of built off of each other, and that they were really able to kind of grow the knowledge and then put everything together at the end. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this gave you a better idea of the history, and I'll see you in the next video.